Hey, y'all. So you're tuned in to the Urban Conservative. You know who I am, Chaz Neal, based in Minneapolis. With me today, I got my producer, John Tell.
Yo, 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 grand rising, everybody. Good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hope you are blessed and well. You already know what it is. It's the Urban Conservative. Let's get it.
And with us today, we have a special guest from Arkansas, uh, Mr. Walt Kelly. Uh, he's
Hey
gonna tell
y'all,
us. Oops, I know I'm so
power
bad.
to the people.
Yes. Uh, Walt's going to tell us about Jaheim. He's also going to tell us about his story and so much other things that are going on that people may or may not be privy to.
Well, I would be honored to. I first want to give y'all thanks for what you're doing because I was I just left the the county jail down there in Gulfport, Harrison County Jail, where you know Jaheim's mother, incognito in a baseball hat, was
Mm-hmm.
down there making sure that every last person was getting out safe. I'm 50 years old, and she was making sure I was safe. Um, you know, a reluctant revolutionary there, and
That's right.
but she's leading. She has no choice. She's having to fight for her life, to fight for her son's life, and Mona Hardin, Ronald Green Jr.'s mother, rolling into town, and here come Bianca Austin and Cortez Rice. Bianca, of course, Breonna Taylor's aunt, and Selena Charles. Boy, Kawan Charles, that's his cousin. If y'all know about that young 15-year-old who was
Yep,
lynched down in Baldwin, Louisiana.
yep,
Um, uh, Jacob Blake, uh, Sabrina uh, Foster, and Pamela Foster from Glenn Foster, who died in Carrollton, Alabama jail in the police custody down there. I mean, it's, I guess how I got here is by saying I called Markwell Bridges, and I called all the black leaders I was taking my cues from and said, "Hey, somebody's talking about it. Somebody's talking about it because it's busted at the seams out there to just go nuts. And if the world will take a look at what's happening, they'll
Right.
go, hold it, wait a minute."
Mm-hmm.
Like people like you and me did when we saw that picture of Tyre Nichols in the hospital.
Right.
We knew what that body cam was going to look like.
right.
It
Oh, we
just took
definitely-
it took an uproar from uncomfortable white people.
Right. Right.
and it's how do you feel with even just watching the State of the Union address last night from Joe Biden, um, and him talk about Tyree, but not bring up so many other senseless police brutality cases that
Like
you
Raheem.
right, like Jaheim or even Rashim, um, that weren't
Rashid.
even mentioned. How does that? Because I know for me myself, this kind of brings me back to like deja vu of 2020 a little bit.
Yes, sir.
To be honest, and I see, we were so enamored with getting justice for George Floyd.
Right.
Is when you started to hear Breonna Taylor's name, Ahmaud
Ahmaud
Arbery,
Arbery.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, um,
I was just recovering with Wanda Cooper from getting those monsters arrested.
Right.
And I was busy in that. And next thing I know, there's an uproar. What's this headline out of St. Paul? Somebody dies in police custody, medical incident. Well, you know what that means. We knew what that means.
Oh yeah, we are. I honestly though, and that's what really trips me out, because we're in 2023, and George Floyd happened in 2020. There's still talks of the passing the George Floyd Act. We should be way past that, and
They're ready to
especially
give it another name.
right, or do something, because at this point, I feel like when certain activists that who are still out here, boots on the ground from 2020, I see that even me myself don't see the same way, the same vision, let me call it, as people that I looked up to, or that I stood shoulder to shoulder with, because I feel like it's more political than anything sometimes at this point. I feel like we say all these names, but yet we don't get no legislation changed.
Right.
And
we become a prop for them.
Right. And then when they do attempt to change it, it's wordplay,
oh yeah.
That's one thing
no
that
action. He didn't talk about his 100,000 more cops on the streets, or $37 billion towards policing.
Right.
And I want to know y'all's opinion, because I've just become a fan in the last week, and I'll be tuning in every chance I get now. You better believe it. But I want to know how y'all feel, and maybe this is what you were getting at. I mean, I throw police reform into exactly what you said, wordplay, and
Right.
it plays right into that 37 billion. It plays right into put more cops. They need better training. Better training to do what? To do what they're doing?
Right. Talk about
it. But in the same sense, those motherfuckers aren't doing shit. We need something.
Right.
So it's a hard position for us, because, in the last 72 hours, we find out about Keith Muriel over in Jackson, Mississippi, on New Year's Eve a month ago, that the same thing happened to him that happened to Tyre Nichols.
Right. It's
hold on a second. Hold on a second, real quick. Appease me, because I have not gotten wind of this yet, and so we've got to understand that there's probably tons of viewers that do not know about this case. Inform them while we have their attention, and while people are talking about Tyre. What you talking about now, Walt?
Yeah, and I myself, this is as I was uploaded part 3 of the Markwell Bridges sit down. I said, I better throw this up. And I threw it up because of this show, just because of the question that you asked before. I saw a little mention of it going on, and I was like, just because I'm aware of the genocide going on down in Mississippi, I was like, holy cow, this is one of when Markwell rattled off 15 names that he was working with. And this was not one of them. I said, wow, how did we miss this one? Well, the story was, it's because it happened right while we're all amping up about Tyre. It happened on New Year's Eve. Keith Muriel, the newspaper release said the same thing the commercial appeal did in Memphis, the same thing that they set up in Minneapolis about George Floyd. Man dies. Didn't say black man, but it said man dies in police custody due to medical incident.
That's why I didn't ring bells.
Yep. And it kept going. Well, recently somebody got some video. And that puts the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, the upholders of white supremacy and policing in Mississippi, and who keep the body cams from people. Well, just like with the target of Markwell and those peaceful, nonviolent protesters in Gulfport.
That's right.
We got video. Because they're certainly not going to cooperate with shit like that. He was multiply what I know, and I know very little. But I popped down on my Facebook page 2 articles, one by the Griot and one by the Commercial Appeal, that has the Jackson mayor, who is black, coming out and saying he does not agree with the police chief's assessment of what happened, and that let's keep it real. He died due to police violence.
Good.
Keith Muriel.
Yeah, if you look in
MURR.
your inbox, John Terrell,
Was that?
I sent you the video.
Awesome. Okay. And it's crazy what's also going on in Mississippi. We just got wind of it, and our team was discussing this this morning about how the white majority of the House in the state of Mississippi voted to make a separate law system that is basically white, gives them more control over the city of Jackson, Mississippi.
Two white judges, 2 white people get to decide everything.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
Right.
House Bill 1030 is what you're talking about. And they're getting more. They got a bill out there to keep people from filming the police. It's an all-on assault. And I think a lot of it is cover up a Jaheem.
See, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's the first thing that my mind went to when I read that. Is I feel like they're trying to cover up the things that, because there's this even more than just
they're in too deep. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And
we just got into the card catalog, and we just walked into the library, and we're like, holy shit, this cop shot this man 113 times. There's stories one after another. It's a flat out, it's lynching gone wild down there. They're driving around just straight up. I'm not trying to be dramatic here when I tell you this. There's white men in the back of pickup trucks running around and just having their way. I mean, and I saw after the day after the party in Gulfport, the celebration of Jaheem's life, I'm on my way back to Northwest Arkansas and Fayetteville. Well, all of those revolutionaries are in Taylorsville supporting Tiffany Carter, Rashi Carter's mother,
Justice Carter.
There are flat out posts for the public to see, the M-bomb being dropped, and people saying, if they come back around here, we're not going to let them burn down our town like they do all the other towns, like they did Gulfport. Just write whatever narrative they want, that they'll start killing black people. And they can say that, and they can do that, and there won't be any legal ramifications. Isn't that the definition of a lynching?
Yes, it is.
A legal lynching at this point.
Right.
They're making it
state sponsored.
And they're literally saying that it's okay by showing the example of we get these black officers, which are by all definition house niggas, doing the bidding of the slave masters. And then we've got the cases of Rasheem Carter and Jaheim McMillan for people who are really privy to what's going on, right? To show
or the
different
gang of white officers with Ronald Green
that we would or not get right. We're literally being shown how we're to act, and if what happens to us if we step out of line, and our allies as well. What happens to y'all too?
Thank you so much. And I think what got us on to Keith Muriel and Rasheem Carter and the gang of white officers that beat Rodney Green to death after letting it go on for over a year that he died in a one-car accident.
Right.
All these things that happened, you know, you were
Where
asking,
can you find
how does it
primary
feel
care
about
for
Tyre
you and your
Nichols?
whole family?
Well, you know, I'm talking at the same time, Katrina, Jaheim McMillan's mother, we are writing the hashtag justice for Tyre Nichols. You know, we all want justice for Tyre Nichols.
Right.
But I've got to wonder how it feels for those mothers.
Right.
Those mothers who are like, hold up. It was October. It was October 6th when my 15-year-old son was shot in the back of the head.
Unarmed, and they lied about it.
Yep.
It's you know, and they didn't talk to one witness on the ground at Family Dollar. They don't want the truth out there. They want to write the story. They haven't even in that case the reason why the police ambushed Jaheim and the Gulfport 4. They ambushed him because they said Adam Cooper's first lie chief of police came out there, said they were pointing guns at passing by motorists.
Right.
No, they weren't. And they were asked to produce, well, what was it? 911 calls were coming in. Well, from what I understand, and this is a big if because it's not out there right now, is one white man, and his statement evidently that they put out there, but after a few of us saw it, they took it away real quick so he could have that press conference on the 11th and then say they were waving guns and chase. Oh, and they chased motorists too, he said. His 911 call, if this is the one made that they allegedly said that he saw that one of the passengers had a gun.
OMG.
Well, I got 4 witnesses, 5 if one of them wasn't dead, Jaheim McMillan.
Right.
And a white man was chasing them down.
Right.
And called them the M-word. So do the Gulfport police need to go ambush this white man and shoot him, come out guns blazing?
Talk about
it. You can't go on. There was never a reason for them to shoot him. And for the narrative to be that he was a felon, shooting at people, pointing guns at people.
You know, so I started listening to a guy that's out of Gulfport, Rip Daniels, and he's had 3 eyewitnesses from the scene that day on his podcast, and it's called "It's a New Day."
Now, what was that name again?
His name is Rip Daniels.
All right.
He's with what did I? Because I found him on Facebook too, and
let me see if I can pull it back up.
Let me tell him right now. I apologize if we're tight brothers. It's been a while down there in Gulfport. You know, everybody knows me, and I know them all real well. But I don't know them like they know me because they're seeing my face every day and hearing
Right.
my voice. I'm just seeing their name in print on social media because I can only get down there and
When
get
you right.
further in debt, every
Oh,
so often.
I know. Oh, I know. Man, listen, I know how it, you know, it goes. I've traveled to. Me and John Tell actually met in Brooklyn Center during Dante Wright uprising. But where we really met and started working together was Akron, Ohio.
Walker.
So yeah, it's been a blessing. I mean, I've been out to DC for the uh Stolen Lives March. When who was that?
Sir.
Who the police killed that weekend when we were out there? I can't even remember his name now. That's so crazy.
Y'all were in Akron when my brother Jacob Blake got beat
Yes.
up.
So
That was the
crazy
reason why
story.
that's what brought us together.
That's what brought us right to Akron. So
And my brother out from North Carolina.
yes,
Yep,
Pressure.
Pressure. Yep.
I actually met
Shout out to
Pressure. Pressure, love him to death. Him and Jason, love them to death. Tanika, so
Mallard.
yes,
Yeah.
all of them. But I
Yeah, I
went out
met.
to
You mentioned Dante Wright. I met Mel Reeves in Ferguson.
yes, Mel Reeves. Mhm.
Rest in peace.
Rest in power.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely rest in power. Now I'm just reading a comment. Um, but it was to go to Akron. I seen that video
I
of
want to be there.
Pressure being assaulted by the Akron Police Department, and then seeing what they did to Jake, and not only just to Pressure and Jake, but to Bianca and Tez as well. You know, I know Tez has been arrested plenty times in this movement. You know what I'm saying? But just to the things that people don't fully understand
I love
what
that,
we
brother.
have to what we have to go through during these, especially when you're not doing anything wrong, and to have your rights violated for standing up for the right thing. And that's what this is all about. And I wonder that because I know there was that, and everybody's talking about it right now, is that Alphabet Boys podcast that is dropping with the I can't say the exact word, but how they infiltrated supposedly BLM.
COINTELPRO 2.0, how they infiltrated BLM protest after the police murder of George Floyd. And the example that they're using is from this young man called, well, not a young man, Zebedios Hall, who was
Right.
charged with 3 years of probation for selling a rifle to this infiltrator, this informant is the word we're looking for. He's an informant.
Right.
The documentation, the proof is there. However, he hasn't said it. He claims not guilty, that he's not an informant, but the proof is there. All of the proof is there. And it's out. There's a podcast about it now. However, we know this all to be true. So often, and so
And it's everywhere, y'all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had, yeah. I mean, it's, you hear that story. It's similar to the same thing that y'all asked in the beginning about the Tyre Nichols. And we have all these same things. We know it's happening every single day, and how it feels for everything else. And to hear Joe Biden and them talk about it. And, these, you bring up the alphabet here with the police informants and everything. I was so naive to that. And
Right.
I had left Ferguson. My sister lives up there, and a lot of my brothers and sisters do, but my skin of the oppressor sister, my white sister, lives up there. And I was hearing about all the things coming down from all the cops that were marching and beating the shit out of our comrades. And the protests that I was involved in down here, because they went national, they were everywhere.
Right.
They had Proud Boys and Boogaloo Boys down here,
Right.
trying to get us, and people we thought were our friends were giving them guns, and those aren't stories because we don't want to talk about it.
Right. Right. No, and there was so much of that. I mean, I started listening to that this morning, and yeah, and just hearing it of the things that they did, and I think back to the things that I've seen, and it's like, honestly, how can we say that hasn't happened throughout every sector of America?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that might be Denver, might just be one spotlighted story, but I guarantee it, if you went to all of these, because you got to think about it, 2020, there was millions.
Hey, y'all, this narrative, like I told y'all about that racist motherfucker down there in Mississippi talking about they're not going to come down here and burn down our buildings and kill off our cops and everything. That narrative, if you go back to 2020 and right here at the protests where, there was a hit on me, I take that. I don't even want to complain about, because I don't have to deal with what y'all got to deal with.
Right.
Those guys were colluded with the police. They assaulted the people. They beat the living shit out of so many black people. And it was them instigated, them agitated. Y'all look back at that summer, of the law enforcement officers that were killed, not a one of them turned out was killed by a Black Lives Matter supporter.
Talk about
it. Some of them claimed to be, but they were CIs.
Yep.
They were all Proud Boys or Boogaloo Boys. They were all white people that were killing those cops.
And with that being said, largely most of the damages being done in many areas were done by not even Antifa people. There was a small cops and white supremacist groups, Boogaloo Boys, Proud Boys, all of those. It was,
and that's the same thing.
And they talk about it. And here they talk about, oh, it's Antifa. Antifa would have gladly claimed it if it was them.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I want to be disruptive, but I'm not good at it. Like the assholes are, like the racists are. They know how to make us look bad because they've been told what narrative we're going to put out. We're going to blame them anyway. They tried to put January 6th on us. They tried to until they have film and they go, where are all the black people at?
That's what's crazy, because that's all you've seen, like, especially when the stories came out of Gulfport, they were trying to call it a mini insurrection, and I've been through that as well, in Iowa. But it was
mayor. He said they were barricaded in their offices, scared.
Why would you be scared? Now, I've seen that video, and
there's 4-year-olds walking with people holding hands.
Right. Why would you gonna be? And that's the whole thing for me, that it frustrates me, because what you seen in that crowd was a lot of what I seen was college students.
Yes.
College
you
age.
mentioned free my people a bunch. I mean,
yes, they're college age.
A big group of those people were there.
Yes, and that's and then you even seen kids. So it's like
you're serving the people. These are your constituents, and you're literally afraid of them.
Jaheim McMillan's classmates who are saying arrest the cops and kill J.E. McMillan. And a person going through puberty's voice,
Right.
just at the
Right.
top of their lungs with tears coming out of their eyes. That's
Yeah,
what they've been doing since October 6th. And
right.
and they're not getting answers. They're being lied to, and they're putting out narratives. And now they said, well, we'll put a narrative out on you too. We cannot let this Tyre Nichols on us.
Talk about
Then
it.
they'll know. Then they'll know what's happening. And I mean, since Marquell and I had that decision, now we're finding out about Keith Muir. Now
Right.
Taylorsville's happened, and they've got that narrative too.
Now let me ask a question, right? Because as somebody who has seen the defund the police movement, the ACAB. Now, do you feel there is any any choice of saving what we see as what we call police? Like, do you feel like there needs to be a total reconstruction of what we call public safety?
Man, you guys are right on. And you should be asking the hard questions. And I'm a man that refuses to do anything but keep it real. And if we're gonna keep it a buck, and I'll challenge one of you guys with total respect to say, I mean, of course, defunded is a given, obvious if the deck we're playing with. But if we're going to keep it real, the only option is hashtag abolish. We got to dismantle every part of this criminal justice system, not leave one part of it standing, including the public defenders. It is corrupt. They are so protected and fortified, and we're going to keep giving money to them. We're going to keep building prisons. We're already 1/4 of the world's incarcerated people, and we're less than 5% of the world's population. It's going to keep going up.
Yep.
And it's going to keep making us less safe because they are creating crime.
Yes.
They are destroying cities.
Yes. Mental health issue, crime. They want it to go.
Oh my Lord, that's where they're
exasperating
the
all of our basic needs. They're trying to barely give it to us just so that they can have a full stock to fill their prisons with and a full stock of pins to just shoot at like we're pigs in a fucking pen. They want to pick us off any way that they seek to, however they choose, and have us ready for them whenever they want. That's basically the era that we're moving into, and I wish people would see the full totality of this, the bigger picture. Funny play on the words, but yes, the bigger picture.
Yes, because, and I'm glad you brought up that thing, because that's one of our messages with conversations with people. You know, y'all mentioned that article, and I am on medications for bipolar and you know, whatever else they wanted to find my crazy head as. Regardless, they would not give me my meds. And that I came to the jail complete. I was locked up for an ounce of marijuana. Last person to be locked up for that in Arkansas that's white that I know of. But I'm a cash cow, taking away from mental health, making sure I'm crazy. That's what keep me in that system. Right. You know? So you take that money away from mental health, you take that money away from addiction services, got to get more cops. Let's take some more black fathers out of some homes. We're going to have their kids too.
Take away good food. Take away good
monster that feeds themselves.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
They don't do any crime prevention. They don't solve any crimes. They don't stop any crimes. Why don't we, like, if you're a firefighter, don't you go out there and teach people fire safety? and how to not start a fire.
But they're preventative. Cops are reactive. Cops are like in my head, cops are like garbage disposals. They're there to pick up all the trash of society, all the defects of society, but they push us all to be defected.
The way they want to say gotcha whenever we say abolish, they want to say, well, then what do you do then? Well, let me tell you. I'll play a little game with them and say, okay, I'm not naive. I know we need some sort. I'm not saying abolish laws or abolish law enforcement. I'm saying abolish that shit. And I'm saying after that's abolished and we have invested in our communities and funded our communities instead of stealing from our communities and destroying them, law enforcement will be reinvented and reimagined because it'll look a lot different because there'll be a lot less crime and there won't be that crime that they've created with us cash cows.
Well, see, and I think that's the biggest part for me, because what we're gonna see is we're gonna see another uptick here, because we've already seen it, where they're gonna tell us that this is what the narrative is going to be, the propaganda is that we need more police officers because,
every time.
Especially, we've seen it.
Let me give you an example. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm cutting you off.
But no, good. But it is the because when we talked about Mel Reeves, I remember plenty of conversations with Mel, and he brought up a lot of similarities between the George Floyd, Minneapolis, and let's say Ferguson with Brown, and even now, people want to talk about the similarities with Tyre Nichols and Rodney King. I have my biggest part about comparing. It's like when we want to compare Jordan and LeBron, who's the greatest. You can't compare. It's different eras. It's you can't compare them. You know what I'm saying? So trying to compare, but
there are similarities that you can compare to the evolution.
That's what I was just about to go.
At the same time, you can look back in time in history as an inspiration to give a marker of how you can make changes to things of where you're going. And a great setup for me, by the way, on saying that, Chaz, thank you, because when we look at what you're just talking about, you can compare it to slavery and going into the Reconstruction era and going into the chain gang era, right? So in the North, they looked at slaves in the South during slavery as really affectionately calling them like domicile creatures, in a sense, like very subservient, well-behaved. This is how Northerners, whites, looked at slaves, right? But then afterwards, because blacks had been let's face it, the South had no more money. They didn't have their cash cow anymore. Slavery was abolished. There we go. We're talking about it. Yes. So they had to find justifications to re-enslave these people, but charge them low wages for doing what did they enslave people over? Not having a job or catcalling a white woman. The most ridiculous of things. Yes, walk on the. If you were walking along the train track, you could get you would get locked up, and you get locked up for 10 freaking years, and within a month you'd be worked to death, essentially. But because of the justification of making these heinous crimes to charge black people and enslave them with, Northerners then, by the point of the Reconstruction era and chain gangs, Jim Crow, and by all of that point beyond, this is why now black people are synonymous with gangsters and ghetto and crime.
Black man is the face of the criminal, right while we're experiencing continued, unprecedented, throughout history, white violence. White violence is the crime that's going out there that is legal, basically, because a black man is the face of the criminal, just like it always has been. You mentioned the word evolved. Marquel Bridges and I mentioned the word evolved in one of those 3 videos. They're just changing it up and doing the same fucking thing they've done all along.
Mm-hmm.
Down there in Mississippi, they still have convict leasing. Parchman, it's a shit show that you're just, and you don't want to see it. You get, white people, we don't want to get uncomfortable now.
Talk about it.
You don't want to know about it, but it's going down, and
No.
we got to put a stop to it. They need our help.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just, as we're sitting here talking and about the similarities and everything from different eras, but I want to talk about the things that they're passing to make it harder on people that want to be out here and make their voices heard. And one thing that I bring up is, especially because it's something that's coming out of Atlanta, is the domestic terrorism charges.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Please do. I got yeah.
So it's, and I know
Scares the shit out of me.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
That is
glad,
what's going on in Mississippi. Yes. Yeah.
right. And especially, and I bring this up with you, Walt, because of the simple fact of you're down south. I'm up north. You know what I mean? I have that. There's that racism. There's that, but there ain't that southern. There ain't no, they'll call me the N-word, but not to my face.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be behind my back or behind closed doors. But down south, it's that, and that's why it's that right there in your face, because that's how I feel like we're getting with Tyre. It's right there in your face, but there ain't nothing we can do about it. Or just like with Jaheim, oh yeah, we'll give you guys the runaround. Yeah, we'll release the video this month, maybe, or maybe we'll do it next month because we're in control. And Jalen Walker too, right? And that's one thing that I've learned of listening to Rep Daniels, is because on Friday he had one of the people that were arrested on his podcast. And he brought up some very great points, and when he was talking to them, like, about the new laws, because there is like the 15-foot law that they had just passed, and
I'm so proud of y'all for knowing all about this. Thank you so much.
It's because we have to do our homework, and that's one thing. You brought up Cortez. If that's anything that I learned from Cortez, is to always be prepared.
A wise young man. I couldn't believe when he told me how old he was last week.
Right? Yeah, he is young. Yeah, he is young.
He's been through a lot in the last 2 years, to say the least.
Yes, he is.
Let me ask y'all a question, and I hate to use y'all as a mental health counselor or what, but it just seems to tap into the dialogue we've got going. So, me rolling into Mississippi when I did, and missing that ambush by the police, am I supposed to feel like I let them down by not being there to look over those youngsters? Or am I supposed to feel lucky because they didn't get me?
Lucky.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't choose
and I got it done.
I say that with no hesitation, because at the end of the day, I had to be faced with a situation where everyone else around me got, I say, kidnapped, because essentially it was some Portland shit. I had to witness that shit, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to stay here and act like a badass and then get kidnapped like the rest of them and be a dumbass instead? Or do I want to preserve this movement and be one of the last people standing and continue to stand up and make a voice?
Because we can keep going, yeah.
So we can keep going, right. So, but I wouldn't choose the word that you chose. What was the word you chose?
ambush, maybe.
No, but the point is,
there's no. For me, I'm gonna say it like this because watching that video of pressure and that night in Akron, and especially with Tez and Jake, because at that point there was a bond that was like my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like that was somebody that I would have died, and I still will. I will die over. You know what I'm saying? Like I will put my life on the line for these people, and I still will to this day. You know, but I felt I had to go through a lot of things myself. You know, because I felt like I let them down by not being there. You know, after that video was, you know, when all that was going down, I'm on the phone with various people, and I'm like, I'm leaving now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna get in my car, knowing that it's a 16-hour drive, and we did end up going the next day. You know what I'm saying? But it was to me of like I needed to be there right then and there. I couldn't wait another 24, 16 hours. But also as well, what I had to think too is that if I would have been there, would I have made the situation worse, or would I have made the situation better? You know what I mean?
Because and at least you're moving forward.
Right. So really don't think about the past. Don't think about what the shoulda, woulda, couldas. Deal with what we're in now and go forward and think about like this will never happen again. We can never allow this to happen again. That's where, to me, myself, I think everybody really needs to go with it, because when situations like these happen, it's so fast. It
is so fast. It's faster than Johnny McMillan. He mentioned kidnapping. And you know that's one of the nice plays that those white supremacy protectors did in Memphis with Tyre Nichols. Was they put that kidnapping charge on the black cops. So that's stripping the badge from them and making them civilians, and they kidnapped Tyre Nichols. Well, we talked about Jaden Prunty there at the beginning of the show. Well, he was being kidnapped. They were pursuing him, assaulting him, kidnapped him. So the people that are going to want to bring up anything about which, by the way, that cop shot himself in the leg, if he shot himself at all. All those people want to bring that up. That's what happens after a kidnapping. I mean, he was kidnapped. And I think if they're going to use that word against us, we might as well roll with it too. I've been real impressed with y'all's lingo, being up on all the things that are making my eyebrows pop up. What? Because they're all hits on what narratives they're going to be putting forward out next about us or the victims that are dead.
You know, that's, and I know we don't have much time left, but I also, this isn't done, because I definitely want to bring you back on this week if I can, if it's got to be this weekend, because I don't want to let this die down. And I know there's going to be a lot of narratives coming out of what happened in Gulfport at City Hall. And I want to fight that narrative, because this is what I feel like is Biden should have been talking about that last night instead of talking about the bullshit that he was talking about.
He could have opened the whole. He could have blew the top off the. See, I didn't listen. I did after the fact, because I knew he wasn't. I didn't want to get pissed. I mean, I've got, my therapist won't allow me to listen to that motherfucker right now. This, the George Floyd Reform Act that never came to be, and y'all mentioned they're just giving us happy little symbolism and word talk and all that. Well, you better believe Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi all got their pictures taken with George Floyd's family.
Just like they did with Tyre Nichols.
At least we got that. Thank God.
Well, it was, and I say even with the similarities, because I remember with Floyd, how they all put on the same uniforms, the same outfits, and kneeled.
They were kneeling. They kneeled.
And I guess last night, weren't they passing out some kind of pin?
Oh, Jesus, I don't want to know. It makes me so sick.
But Walt,
I'm glad that Miss Mona Hart was there.
Walt, you just said it earlier in this webisode. They don't want the truth out. They want to write the story.
The story, right.
They want to write the story. So it doesn't matter what we did for these families, as long as we got our picture for the history books to tell your grandchildren what we did for them.
What happened with Tyre Nichols was wrong, and I've never seen anything like it in my 50 years of law enforcement. If I hear not one more goddamn cop say that, I'm going to lose my mind. They see it and do it every fucking day of the year.
Right.
But the narrative is it's Tyre Nichols. Those bad apples got out. Oh, Lord. Oh, and they were black cops. So this was black on black crime. If I hear one more redneck racist say that again,
right.
They are working for the enforcers, the white supremacist terrorist gang that's upholding this white supremacy criminal justice system. That if we're keeping it real, we gotta dismantle, tear the shit down, and start over. But we're too busy taking incoming right now to just get the truth told. And I like what y'all are saying about we got to keep this narrative going, because they are putting out the narrative. And that's exactly the activism I'm trying to do right now, is push back the narrative. And I watch the language that I use. And, one of the things that's different in the narrative I'm pushing and y'all are pushing and theirs is one of us is telling the truth.
Right.
And when people want to attack me and say that I'm bullshitting, I'm putting out propaganda, I challenge them to tell me one statement I made that isn't true. Did the cop not fire 8 shots? Was he not shot in the back of the head? What part did I say that's not true?
Right.
I'm just giving up the parts that are questions I left out. I don't even need them to know that it was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Big facts. Right. That's the whole thing of it is, and that's why it frustrates me to see people even with last night. I sent you a picture, John Tell, and it's a picture last night that was took with Amir Locke's father, Michael Brown Sr., and then you have Omar.
Yes.
And I have a problem now, not with that they took a picture, but my thing of it is they promised us legislation since that man in the St. Louis hat lost his son.
2016.
Right.
Look at the lack of smiles and look at the excess of smiles.
Right.
Yep.
Who's smiling? Who got
Powerful.
the smiles and who don't? That is powerful.
Powerful picture, and this will be used. They'll use the shit out of this.
Yeah, because I
what?
can tell you right now, Andre Locke Sr. knows what that means. Mr. Locke knows what that picture means.
If you look at Ilhan Omar and Corey Bush's smiles, they really don't want to smile. I think they're tired.
Corey,
look at their.
I'm marking Corey Bush.
Really stressed. I'm still a fan of. Honestly, I'm gonna say it. I'm still a fan of theirs in the sense of rooting for them, but I also am a realist, and I know that they're fighting a losing battle within a system.
We're gonna mute John Tell here in a minute. He keeps saying.
Well, John Tell just talked some truth though.
bootlicking over here.
Listen, I'm not. No, listen. They jumped into the sea, so I know that they're drowning, and so I feel bad for them, and I still love them. I still show and extend love to them because I know that they mean well, and that's what I'm getting at. And so when I look
I
at
can
those
love
smiles,
that.
those smiles are strange. Their smiles are so strange. They don't want to smile, but they have no choice. They're told, they're made to smile. Do you know what I mean? It's a difference between the politicians that are seasoned, like Biden, for example. It's a fake and phony, sinister smile. These ones, they just got into the game and they don't know what they've gotten themselves into, and now they're so bewildered. They have a deer in headlights kind of smile, and then you got these
Corey
guys
doesn't.
here.
They don't know what to do.
Right.
She's still speaking out when she can.
Yep.
She still tells the truth. Corey Bush does. So does Omar. I'm not here to lead the bandwagon on him by any means, but I would be turning my back on somebody on love if I was to say something bad about Corey Bush. I've been in the trenches down there with her, and I didn't take nearly the swat she did, and I haven't. She's quite a story. She's an amazing woman.
We'll have to talk about her sometime again. Man, you've got a lot of stories to tell, I'm sure, because we sat here and read the article before we hopped on with you. And wow, like there's a lot of stuff that we definitely got to talk about with you. It's a pleasure talking with you. Really.
Well, I am glad that we linked up together. I'm proud to know y'all. Chaz Untold, God damn, reaching out to me. Everything. I think we can do some good and get some justice, y'all. But we can't stop.
No, we ain't. Can't stop.
We got to be loud.
Definitely. And that's what I want to get in. I want to get into this some more because there's other things that I want to ask you about, about Gulfport. As somebody that's been up there, boots on the ground. I really want your honest, and I know we don't have time for it today, but I want to get you on as soon as possible, so that we can go more in depth about. I would really.
It's a lot to know. I just feel like any day now, we're all gonna know. It's like Ahmaud Arbery just went on and on and on. Those motherfuckers had that video the whole time. They weren't going to arrest them until we saw it. Well, can we just at least see the body cam? Maybe. Adam Cooper said in that press conference, y'all, he went out of his way to say at the end that a cop wasn't even in the same state trying to protect the cop that shot him.
Right.
Went on for a minute about that cop. Is that what he's ashamed of? Because we're going to know that he was lying about that because that's so blatant? He lied. Every statement he made was a lie.
Right. Now, and that's one thing, too, of do you feel like that's going to be, when the video is released and it is shown that Jaheim did not have a gun?
I like that you said when it is released. I'm not so confident, but go on.
You don't think they're going to release it?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm not confident about it.
Okay.
I've been being told it's going to be released for months now.
Right. Because
the mayor just said that the investigation's almost over. The investigation really never happened, one. Right. Two, they're saying NBI said it was over in December when they showed Katrina the tape.
Yeah.
Edited about 9 seconds of the tape.
That's all they showed her was 9 seconds?
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
They showed her very little. They started the tape. I'll say, she said that when the officer opened the door on the scene, guns ablazing, like no commands, which, Adam went over and over how he would not comply
Right.
Fuck you, Adam Cooper. But no commands, guns going off basically before he could get out of the car, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Just, he shot a window out of the Family Dollar, took the windows out of another car, and the first or second bullet hit Jaheim in the back of the head.
Now, because I've heard Rip has had 3 eyewitnesses from that night, and one question that he asked all 3 of them was, had they had any conversations, had they been interviewed by the police? They haven't been, and I don't know if they have been now, but
they don't want to. No, I would bet they haven't.
See, and what's crazy is because when you listen to the witnesses and then you listen to the police chief Cooper, it's 2 different stories. The eyewitnesses say that Jaheim didn't have a gun. There wasn't one near him, but yet that's what you hear Cooper saying. And all that takes me back to is George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? It was a medical incident. Instead of telling us that Derek Chauvin was on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
Keep in mind too that they had those little boys, 14 and 15-year-olds,
right,
for 7 days before they could even talk to the goddamn mama. So they got any statements they wanted from those kids, I'm sure. And those kids
7
are
days,
terrified right now.
Fucking minors could not speak to their parents for 7 days.
What was the reason why they couldn't talk to their
they're
parents?
making the narrative. They're getting everything they need. The kids, but while they're going to the police cars, are all talking, Mama.
Right.
Jaheim was trying to get away. But boom. The police say all those boys were armed, everything. And then all of a sudden, that week, Adam Cooper said, the police have all confirmed that it was Jaheim with the gun. It was Jaheim with the gun. Meanwhile, Jaheim's the only one he said didn't have a gun. But they will not release any police reports. Mississippi law says 7 days. They still haven't done it. They don't know what they're going to put
I don't give a fuck if he had a gun.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
And that's what we're probably going to see if we see a body cam. It's something that may or may not be a gun. Regardless, he was running away. Those same goddamn Republican politicians have Christmas cards with their sons having assault weapons. Their goddamn daughters, their white daughters, have assault rifles. Mississippi is not, you got open carry. It's legal for him to have a gun. He ain't no felon. It is racism. And if you're a white man, if I'm driving down the road in Mississippi and I want to go cause some problems and start dropping some M-bombs, and some brother either shows me a gun or just tells me to fuck off, cracker, whatever he does, and it pisses me off, all I gotta do is pick up the phone and say, I got some black boys with guns. I got some black boys with guns. It is code 1 emergency. Twin towers are going down. And those cops came down, had them a car full of them, and they were going to get one. They were going to get one of them.
The thing about it now is in 2023, you can have black cops and black people co-sign the cavalry coming to round up those boys. And the equivalent is a white man seeing that black man or woman walking along the train tracks in 1872 in Mississippi and saying, oh, it's walking alongside the train track. I need a couple extra bucks to get dinner tonight for my family. Let me go tell him to the. You get where I'm going with it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Under current law, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Homeland Security investigate, prosecute, and work to prevent acts of terrorism, both domestic and international in nature. H.R. 350 would require each of those agencies to operate offices dedicated to investigating, preventing, and prosecuting domestic terrorism, and would authorize the appropriation of whatever amounts are necessary for those offices.
I mean, they got us covered. So, when we see the body cam is going to be something for people to go nuts. They shot and killed a 15-year-old little boy.
Right.
And it's going to, whatever. But, yeah, thank you for saying I don't give a hell if he had a gun or not. But when I saw the scene going down, you can't see a gun anywhere to the body. What makes me think he did is Adam Cooper was careful with his line words when he said a gun was recovered. A gun was recovered for each of the Gulfport 4 close to the scene. A gun was in his waistband, whatever the case may be. Which, by the way, I don't think any of those boys had guns, but that's another story.
I don't think
I think that they mentioned Jaheim the whole time. All the camera angles we do have, there ain't no gun over there. Even if they were going to plant one, we would have seen it. They would have brought it up. The reporters wouldn't ask, was a gun recovered from the scene? No, they didn't have one.
See, that's what my thing of it was. Even when from like everything that I've read about this whole story was that,
and like Jalen, they'll produce one.
Now listen, this is my theory now. What if they cannot produce a gun because the evidence is so damning that it's like hands up, don't shoot, boop, boop, pop on the ground, and that is worse than, in my opinion, Tyre because
that's the I think honestly
they are scared of that. That is exactly why they cracked down on those protesters coming into the mayor's office the other day. It's exactly why, because this is at a time where they don't need any attention being drawn to this.
See, right.
Bingo, he's right, bullseye. And if he's not right, he's still right because there's about 12 other circumstances that are the same goddamn thing that are bad, 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 bad. There ain't no way it's going to look good for them. There ain't no way. And I have talked to a human who has seen it for her son, and she's more pissed off than she was before after seeing it. And that was her son. And it did not make her shut up. It made her crank it up 8 more notches.
You know what? Speaking of that, that is the thing that they don't want, and that is also why they're trying to shut this case down, because Tyree's mom wants everybody to be peaceful. Biden co-signed that fucking shit. Sabrina is not going to be that way. Tiffany is not going to be that way. The mainstream media does not want to co-sign that shit because they're afraid that it's going to incite violence and whatnot.
Didn't even think about it.
What it's really going to do is expose the truth and unite people. No one's seeking violence outright. We want
and you know those speechwriters knew about Jaheim McMillan. You know they knew.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know they knew about Jalen Walker. You know they knew about Donovan Lewis. You know they knew about Amir Locke. You know they knew all this. They didn't mention a goddamn thing about it.
No, not at all. And it's infuriating as fuck because then there's people like, who, Jaheim, why is people in Mississippi? What's going on? Why do you need
right?
Or a white boy. They didn't mention Christian Glass.
Right.
I mean,
dropping names.
Real.
We gotta. We gotta. They don't want anything to push away from the. Oh, we got to give them more money to give them better training and more education from these guys. More mental health assessment.
Hashtag Cop City.
Yep. So we can't say nothing. They're coming after us.
Yep.
Yes,
That shit is scary as hell. It's damning, and I just wish this year is going to be a really dark year, and I want people to wake up. You know.
Well, I got more videos from not just Mark Quell, but the weekend as a whole, and I'm gonna do my long video about the things I learned as a whole, and we've all got to keep putting pressure on Lynn Finch, Attorney General of Mississippi, to pretend like she's going to bring some charges to a grand jury. Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. They keep putting it on somebody else on who's not allowed them to release the body cam. Well, the mayor of Jackson just came out and said they can release the body cam right now. So they're just, whatever they tell the media to tell the public is the new rule. WWL in New Orleans, which that's one of the videos on my channel. I need to add those new ones to my Jaheim McMillan playlist. But, we reached out to NBI for comment to ask them why the body cam hasn't been released yet. And they had no comment, no response. And we were given no response. They just hang up on you.
Right. No, and that's the usual. That is the usual.
And guys, if they don't release the body cam, there ain't nobody to make them do it.
Right.
Because Joe Biden didn't say nothing. Because the feds aren't down there making them do something. They can do whatever the hell they want down there.
Well,
and they can threaten my kids while doing it. And they're scared of the truth and they don't want the truth out. Can't tell them the truth.
Well, we got to keep on telling the truth. That's the only way we get.
And if we want to be spiritual and believe in karma or something like that, we got to hang on to something. We got to hang on to the fact that in the end, the truth will win, because at least we're telling the truth, and at least we're fighting for life. At least we're fighting for justice. One side's trying to kill people and lie.
No, I definitely I vibe with that, because I feel like that's the only way. I feel like that's why there is John Taylor. I feel like that's why there is a Leon Block. Yeah, because I knew there was raining. I figured it was hailing down there.
Yeah, I thought that sounds like hail.
Hell, right. So I just know that we have to keep on going, because even though there might be times we feel like we're not being listened to, there's somebody's out there listening. And all it takes is just that, getting that one person to listen. So I definitely want to have you back on again. Very near here in the near future. Until then, be safe. I'm definitely I'm gonna put all your links in to how to get a hold of you, how to watch you, your profiles, your YouTube and your Facebook, in the videos and in the comments. So I was really intrigued by going through your profile, and then even the conversation with the text. The Mel Reeves, the connection there, when brought up Mel, that's another thing that connected me and Jontel, is Mel Reeves, and the same with Tez. So it really, honestly, thank you so much, because it's great to see that there is other people out there, regardless of the following that they may or may not have. Because I feel like, just looking at everything that I saw about you, you're not about the money. You want change, and you want to feel it now, so I really do appreciate it. And things that especially because I started a pantry program in the community that I used to live in, and we have 10 of them that we put up. So that was another thing that hit me. And that's what it is, mutual aid work. And I don't think people really fully understand what mutual aid looks like. Because what we definitely, just the stuff that I did see and read, there's so many things that we could discuss and talk about, because I feel like we have the same journey with, you just wanted to help any way that you could, and no matter what it was, you wanted to do it. And that's the kind of work that I've been always I put my mind to, is to, if there's a will, there's a way. So, and I see that same way with you. So I'm definitely look forward to having more conversations. I'm glad that I'm getting to meet you, getting to know you. I hate that it has to be this way, but I guess that's God's plan. It wasn't my plan; it was God's plan. So, and He puts people in our lives for a reason. So, I just really definitely do appreciate it. And I look forward to having our next conversation, because there's just so much more to peel back and get into.
Agreed.
Everything you said, man. Everything you said. Amen. Thank you. And let's keep doing it. We'll do some good. We'll get some justice.
Yes, we're gonna get it. Yes, we are. We're gonna get it. If we don't go get it, we're gonna shut it down. So that's right.
Y'all check out those 3 videos with Marquell. There's more coming.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely will. I'm gonna post all of them in the comments and all that, because that's not a story that we're anywhere done near telling. Because there's so much that hasn't came out yet. So,
right.
No, we definitely
I did put the link to the article about the CBS article about you, Walt, and then there's a couple of other bits and pieces of things that I found out. I put in the comment for this webisode, and Chaz tags you, so you'll be able to just go through and check the comments too, and share the stream out far and wide. And for viewers as well, make sure you all share the stream, like, follow, and subscribe to us. Shout out to our YouTube family. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button.
Always. So y'all know what it is: win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell. Wish us well.
Every day, fighting for my life. Every day, fighting for my life. Fighting for my life. Fighting for my bread. Grew from the seed you thought was rot. I think not. Fire bred desire to rise above denial, to rise from former ashes to face new trial or triumph. I am enough. Trial to triumph. I am enough.